Polish builder Galeon has been producing some of the most innovative boats of recent years. You can see some of them behind me. This is the new 620 Fly with its folding balconies. Or here we've got the 450 HTC. But trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is the new 430 Explorer, and it is completely out of this world in terms of everything. Its looks, its features, its value for money. It is quite an extraordinary boat, and that starts with the styling. My name is Hugo Andreae, you're watching Motorboat and Yachting. Let's go and tour it. Just check out the frontal view of this new Explorer. It really is in your face, and deliberately so. It's completely uncompromising. It looks a bit like a tugboat, and that's deliberate. It's an Explorer. It needs to look tough, no nonsense. It is very beamy at this bow, and you can see just how vertical it is, just how wide it is, and we've got those sort of flared cheeks that come out and produce even more volume inside. We've got this really upright, tall windscreen that is actually reverse angled in that kind of Explorer yacht aesthetic. We've got folding balconies everywhere, huge glass windows, and we'll explain a little bit more about those as we go around. But just take a look at it. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. We've got two doors either side of that pilot house. Got this big kink in the shear line here, and simply the longest balcony as I have ever seen in relation to its overall length. So this is a 43-foot boat, and you can see the size of this balcony. It stretches fully at least halfway along the boat, probably more. You can see just how many bar stools they've put out on here. We've also got windows in it. There is so much going on, and I'm going to give you a better look at all of that inside. But first, let's take a little quick look at the spec. You can see it's 11.6 metres, 43 foot or thereabouts. We've got 4.4 metre beam. Well, overall beam, maximum beam is actually 4.5 metres or 6.5 with the platforms down. You can have single or twin engines, and we'll take a closer look at those in a minute. But first, let's drink in some of the details. Now, this is a big hydraulic high-low platform. You can keep your tender on there, but there is also a huge tender garage under here. And with a little bit of magic, we should be able to show you that all lifting up and get an idea of how much space there is under there. Over on this side, we see we've got a sea bob there temporarily, but those steps will fold out as the platform comes down to create a little stairway down into the sea. And then another popular Galeon feature of this carousel seating, but this is the best example yet. Now, this whole thing will swivel round so it can face forwards or backwards, but I love it the way they've got it set up here, facing out over the water. Imagine sitting in an anchorage, taking in the view out beyond the stern of the boat. Big folding table. I won't demonstrate that, but you can see that folds out to double its size. Rather like this little detail. They've got a map of the world etched into it. I guess that's to kind of reinforce the fact that this is a trawler yacht for proper long-range cruising. Now, it's not going to be an ocean crossing boat, but in terms of volume and comfort and speed, it's much more about gentle, slow, comfortable cruising. With a single engine, it's good for about 14 knots. With twins, it's about 20. But look at how much there is going on here. This is the other balcony along the port-hand side. Now, these obviously fold up, but one thing to point out is that it is an asymmetric design. So when this balcony is folded up, there is no side deck here. But they've done that in order to create more volume inside the yacht, and we'll show you that from inside in a minute too. But let's just take in a little look at this balcony here, because you can see there is a big lift-up window. This is all electric, so that swings up, and then the bench inside has a reversible backrest, so you can sit down on this little spot here, give you an idea. Very comfortable sitting, looking out to sea. Plenty of space in front of you. There's plenty of room for your feet. You can see guardrails all the way around. Obviously, they pull out when it's not being used. Also important to show that there are glass sections in all of these folding terraces, so you can see the water underneath. Particularly lovely on a bright sunny day. Here is that carousel seating again. You can see how good that looks all facing out, but it will spin all the way around and face inboard here, probably a little bit more secure underway. And you have got gates, so when this is facing the other way, these gates will swing out, and that provides more security. It just blocks off this little section here, so if you have got kids on board, you've got a very secure boat when you're cruising along. Now, lots of little lockers all the way along this deck space here. The ones either side, that's just a bit of useful storage for fenders or ropes, whatever it may be. We've seen that big storage locker under there. There is also little ones here, so that's the water. There's a similar one just under there, and under those feet there, so I'm not going to go there for fuel and so on, but nice to see that they're all tucked away. There's plenty of storage. Here we go. It looks like that's free now, so you can see you've got the twin diesel tanks there, or a diesel and a waste tank. Now, it's got 2 diesel tanks of 600 litres each, so obviously the range will depend on what size engines you have, and they haven't actually released any range figures yet, but we'll give you an idea at least how much diesel it holds. Another good storage locker there. And then access to the engines is through this central one. So we might just have a quick peek down there. Hopefully I can manage this while still holding the camera. But if we drop down here, so you can see you've got fuel tank there, we've got batteries there, we've got generator over on the port side, and here are the twin engines. So this has the 2 D6 480 horsepower. All of them are shaft drive, whether you go for the twins or the single. With these 2 480 horsepower, should get a top speed of about 20 knots. Or if you have a single one, that will obviously be down the centre line with a straight shaft, and that will be about 14 knots with a single D6, or you can have a bigger single D8 if you'd rather. But really good to see there's plenty of space around here. So you've got diesel tanks on either side, one there, all the electrics and switchgear over there, big firefighting system. That must be the water tank under there, and you can see there's a lot of space either side, and I'm told that's because they are also wanting to future-proof this. If they ever want to fit some kind of hybrid drive system or batteries or anything else, it just means there is space down there if you need it. Now, wet bar unit in this corner here, plenty of features here. You've got a sink, you've got a grill, got storage behind there, fridge under there. This obviously folds down if you want to tuck it all away. All designed to be very neat and secure when it's not in use. Here are the buttons for the balconies. I'm not going to operate those because we've got all the bar stools set up. We've also got a sun awning, so you can see if you point up there. Got a big sun awning, that's all electric and provides shade if you are facing either way. Now let's just have a little look at this balcony from this side. Now that is a fold-up unit. You can see that that tucks away flat, and that creates a side deck along this side, so you still have got access along this deck forward to the bow lounge. But look how big this is with these 4 bar stools all slotting in there. They obviously all swing round and tuck away. They plug in, they plug out. Just give you an example of how they tuck in if you want to do it quickly, but they will also remove so that you can have that side deck there. Now this section here, that creates a little bar area for you to sit at and have your drinks. That slides in to that section there. There's a little button inside. I can't do it because you have to be inside to do it, but that essentially slides under that surface there, disappears, and then a big window rises up from this area here and seals off that saloon. So you have got full weather protection when you want to, but it does open up beautifully when you want to fold the balconies down and enjoy it. Let's take a quick look round at this bow lounge whilst we're here. Now, I did tell you that was a very beamy, blunt bow, and you really get a sense of that here. So even though it's a very, what we call a cab forward design, the helm station is really, really close to the bow. But because it's so flat and blunt nosed, there is a long bench here you can sit down at. Quite a nice little idea here too. These sections just fold up and down, so you can have them folded down to create a bit more of a walkway, or you can flip them up and just gives you a bit more of a kind of, not quite a chaise longue, but a little bit more space. You can probably fold the other one up too, and then you can lie there if you want to. Got all the anchoring gear here. We've got a through hull anchor, but look at that. That is quite an unusual view, looking down over the front of the yacht, to have something as blunt as that. There is half side deck down here, so on this side, I told you it was an asymmetric design. You can walk along this side, but only as far as there, and that is where the saloon takes over and occupies that extra space. But I do like the fact that you've got side doors on both sides, so you can come through this way or that way and immediately access that foredeck area. So let's have a little bit of a look. Let's come in here and see what it looks like from inside. So here is the helm position. I told you you're very close to the bow, and that gives you an idea of just how close you are. But a very comfortable helming position. There's a bench here. It's got to be big enough for at least 3 to sit really comfortably on there, actually. The wheel is over here on the starboard side. Standard Volvo throttles. There you've got that side door, so you've got a lovely fresh air coming through there. And it is on a kind of pantograph hinge. I can show you that briefly, give you an idea of that. So it will slide in like that and then lock together like that. If I'm honest, it doesn't feel as robust as some pantograph designs. You can see it's a relatively narrow or small scale hinge, but it does work very nicely, and it does mean it keeps those side decks free. It doesn't block the space when it is open. Single section windscreen, so you've got no central mullion. These side ones are quite tall, but because of that forward or reverse raked windscreen, you have got great visibility there. You can see the windscreen wipers tucked either side. Double Raymarine screens, very neatly laid out, nice clear design. All these clearly marked. It does take a little bit of searching to find what you want, but you can see you've got the bow lights, the external lights, all the engine room pumps, all the electronic kit, trim tabs, and bow and stern thrusters. Now that is worth knowing, because with a single engine on shafts, you are probably going to want bow and stern thrusters. Rather nice little companion seating over on this side. You can see there is a small table there that flips over, gives you a bit more space. Just a nice place to probably hang out for maybe breakfast in the morning or on passage. It's rather nice to have a little companion seating there. And then moving back into the main saloon. So a couple of steps down, and you've got the galley over on this starboard side, and that's that bar area out through that window. So that's where the window slides up and down. We've got a fridge under here. We've got storage under there, and that is the button for that sliding section of the bar. We've got a oven, or an oven, 2-ring burner, relatively small sink. So to be honest, there are a couple of things that you might want to upgrade. 2 rings seems a little bit small for a boat this size, and there is currently no dishwasher. I think that is because that sliding section there just makes it awkward to fit a dishwasher in there. So not currently an option, but might be something they resolve at a later date. Now here is the internal dinette. You can see that is that little seat I was sitting on facing out earlier on. That backrest there slides over. I'm not going to do it now because I'll have to move all these cushions, but you get the idea. That backrest pops over, so you then have a nice sort of C shape of seating around that table there. You've got a couple of freestanding stools there too, so you can sit on all sort of 4 sides of that. Not entirely regular, but that's where that asymmetric design comes in handy. That's what buys the extra space to have this nice long dinette that sort of tucks around there and all the way along there. Otherwise you'd lose a big chunk of that to a side deck. Also to point out, there is an extra little pop-up surface on that wet bar and a lifting window above the bar, so that swings down and closes it off. And of course you've got sliding doors on this side, so you can secure the whole area and keep it all nicely enclosed. Those are the buttons for that. So there's the buttons for that window. Show you that coming down. I'm not going to go all the way, but you get the idea. That's all on electronic switches. And exactly the same over here. I think there are switches for this window here. See that one starting to come down. Again, I'm not going to go the whole way, but important to show you that that is all electric, all sorted out. There's also a high-low television here. That drops back down into there. That's on a remote control. I haven't got the remote control here at the moment, but that will drop down so that you get a more open view through into that raised area there. Now, dropping down into the lower deck, here we come. Now, this is the main owner's cabin. This is forward in the bow, and this is where that big, beamy, squared off bow design really creates valuable extra space, because you've got plenty of room either side of the bed. It doesn't narrow at all into a pointed bow. You've got space to walk around the bed on both sides. Good size bow windows. No opening sections of these, and it does feel a tiny bit stuffy in here. It'd be really nice to see just an extra opening porthole area so you could get a bit more fresh air down here. Some nice detailing on the woodwork. See this sort of curved design here. Little cupboards pop open. No door handles, very much of the current design. Keep everything as clean and minimalistic as possible. Nice lighting and detailing around the top of the bed head there. You've got a couple of extra reading lights. More storage on this side. Hanging locker in there. What you will notice, of course, is that there is not ensuite access to the bathroom. So the bathroom is outside here, and it is shared because there is a second cabin, but it is a really good size actually. Got big window there with a blind, obviously, being the bathroom. Glass door to the shower compartment and a hinged one there. No overhead shower, it is just a handle that slots into a holder, but pretty good space. Quite nice to have a little seating area there too. Heads here, small sink, big mirrors behind the door. Helps bounce the light around and gives a bit more of a feeling of space. I do like the fact that we've got these quite heavy duty doors in here with fabric panels in here. It just adds a bit of contrast and texture. And then second cabin on this side, surprisingly good size this actually. I thought it might be a little bit low in terms of headroom and in terms of volume, but actually you've got good space along one side of the bed there. There is plenty of standing headroom above me here at the door. You've got plenty of headroom there. It does start to drop down a little bit over the bed, but to be honest, that's not really a problem. There's still plenty you can sit on the side of the bed there without having to duck your head. Decent sized hull window over here, bit of hanging storage in there, and there is one more little surprise in here, and that is if I shuffle along this bed section here, you notice what looks just like a bulkhead, but I can pop my fingers in there, give that a push, that swings open, and there is a really handy utility area in here. Now that can just be used for storage. You can see there's a washing machine up there, but a really handy space. You can put anything in there, from folding bicycles to suitcases, whatever, but rather nice to have them tucked completely out of the way and not on site. A little bit hard to close it, so you have to get your fingers back in and then pull it tight. But actually, for a second cabin, pretty good. Now there is one more area to show you, and that is the Flybridge. So relatively steep steps up, quite nice and wide, but then when you get here, you can really see the value of having that Flybridge pushed out all the way out to the edge of the boat. So you can see it comes all the way out to the full beam. That's just the platform there, and it results in a really wide seating area. So even though you've got the staircase alongside the dinette, there is masses of space all around it. Really good size U-shaped square, big table in the middle, bimini over the top, folding, good size wet bar over on this side. Again, plenty of room. You can have grills under there, got a sink under there. That seems like it's going to stick, so I won't show you that one there. Fridge under there. And then this mast here, very cleverly, this whole mast section also folds flat. So if you want to go through the canals or under bridges, this whole thing will fold flat and give you a lower air draft, so you can sneak around inland as well as at sea. Big sun pad right at the front here. Helm station over on the port hand side. Just a single seat here, but you have got a nice position. You're quite well focused. It sort of wraps around your knees. Helm adjusts. Does it adjust? No, it doesn't look like it does adjust. That's fixed, but there is enough room for my knees around here. Quite nice that the throttles are then brought towards you a little bit. There are those bow and stern thrusters again. twin Raymarine screens, autopilot, VHF trim tabs. So you have got full control of everything, very comfortable to drive up here. And of course you've got that companion sun pad alongside. Now, prices for this new Galeon 430 Explorer start at around €800,000, but by the time you've spec'd it up with all the cool features like these carousel seats, the folding balconies and everything else, realistically it's going to be about 1.1, 1.2 million euros ex taxes. Now that is quite a lot of money, but then again it is such an extraordinary boat. There is so much going on, so much to explain, so much to enjoy. I guess the big question is, does it all add up to a better boat? I'm not sure I really know the answer to that yet. I still haven't got my head around it. The styling alone takes a certain amount of getting used to, but I do think it's fascinating and I'm hugely impressed at all the innovation that Galeon just keep on coming up with. So I'd love to know what you make of it, what you think about the styling, what you think about all the clever features. Do please let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you very much for watching.